What's going on?
Oh, there we go, buddy. To
Man,
answer your question, not a whole lot. How are you, man?
man, pretty good. Back to
Sweet.
tell you what's going on with the man. It's life on the road.
Dude, seriously, man, going up and down the road, papering the town.
Making them. Man, it's good. I just sitting here watching the news, trying to see who's going to die in space first. And looks like Jeff Bezos is going to win.
We're good. It's all good. Yeah, for the first billionaire death in space countdown has begun.
Yeah.
What billionaire's gonna fake their death in space first?
It's got to have been one of the dumbest but fascinating stories all at the same time when you have like Richard Branson goes off and does his little spacewalk, and then you have Bezos like, well, he didn't go to the real space.
It's real.
I'm going to go to the real space.
I'm gonna go to real space.
Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah. I'll show you.
The coolest thing about the Virgin spaceship was finally somebody sat down and watched Superman Returns and was like, hey, that could work.
You know what? If it doesn't go well, Superman will save us. He did in the movie.
Yeah.
We could use him.
I thought it was brilliant in that he went on a craft that doesn't have to be launched from the ground, but it was from a plane. And so I was like, I'm that really enjoyed Superman Returns. At least the first three quarters of it were exactly what I wanted, and went to total crap after that. But that's neither here nor there. Point is, I want to see who's going to die in space first, and the race is still on. There's still a title to be won.
Superman Returns is the Brandon Routh one, I think is how you said. Isn't that right?
That's it. That's it.
As I remember, I think about that one was, I know we discussed it. I thought Spacey's Lex Luthor was quite underrated. He did good. It was all good.
That's
But
right.
freaking Parker Posey's Miss Tessmacher, man.
Oh
He's
man,
the most underrated comic book movie character in anything I've ever seen, because Miss Tessmacher is great from the Gene Hackman movies, and Parker Posey is absolutely perfect. And I love that. I'm with you. The movie, it is what it is. Because the thing about that movie, and nobody ever says it, you and I've discussed it before, but the thing where that movie hits the sour note, it's not that Kate Bosworth is not a good actress. It's that she was handed absolute trash in that script. There's nothing you could do to make that worthwhile. Because Lois being mad at Superman, I get. But boy, could you have written that story a lot better. And it's like, that's what I think really hamstrung that movie, is it was all like, Lois is bad because Superman left. And anyway, over here, and it's like, you really should have dug deeper on that one thing, because that's a good story.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got sidetracked, but yes.
Flesh that out.
Yeah, you could do something cool with that, because it's like, yeah, I bet she would be pissed. I could see her being
She's a little bit too justified in that anger. We can't have that in our comic book hero movie.
That's where I'm at. It's like, we can talk about that. You want Superman to be the heel because he was? Sure, we can do that. We should have done that.
Speaking of Superman movies, and not to get too sidetracked, there was a pretty neat. I don't know if it was a tweet or what exactly it was, but I just saw it come across the news that Gene Hackman had a really just awesome things to say about Dick Donner the other day when he passed, and I guess that's had Superman movies kind of in my head for the past couple of days anyway. But maybe it's just my age, or maybe it's just me being a bit of a prick. But that was one of those deaths that came across the news, and I was like, I could have swore that he had already passed away.
I thought so too.
I was surprised like, oh man, he wasn't gone. No, he is. But I do that a lot. I'm bad to do that.
I'm awful at it, especially like we're talking about with like celebrity or movie deaths or things like that, because you'll see a clip in the Oscar whatever, and it's, I don't know why, but I've always seemed to get it. incorrect about who we're talking about. Like you'll watch it and they'll put up a shot. Like we'll stick with Superman of Margot Kidder. And for some reason in my head, they'll be running it for her, but I'll be like, oh man, Richard died. I don't know why. I make that mistake a lot, so I understand. So I'm a little surprised too. Like, oh, I didn't know he was still with us. But that is cool as hell. Man, you talk about a cat that whenever I'm thinking about like actors that I really, really like, man, I never ever think to mention Gene Hackman. And that sucks because he is fantastic. I love that guy. I wish I would keep him closer to the front of my brain when I'm making those lists.
There's those certain guys like that it doesn't matter what they're in. I'm in because I know that at least they're going to be good.
Absolutely, that cat's gonna bring it, man.
Yeah, man.
Mark Strong philosophy. I keep standing by that because we just mentioned Miss Tessmacher being an underrated movie character, and I know you know because you told me, man. And I'm not advocating that anybody watch Green Lantern again ever, but
please don't.
Shoot, I need to bump that shelf. But Mark Strong being allowed back in the multiverse to play Sinestro is something I really hope happens. That's our whole thing about dovetailing universes and alternate galaxies and different people that I know it's stupid, but that literally is where all that came from. I'm like, man, how are we going to get Mark Strong back in there to play Sinestro? And it's like, this could work. This is cool. I like it. That stuff is fun, man. And apparently that's what Loki's up to. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently that's what they're doing on that show. And I'm like, all right then, okay.
That's sweet. I'm so far behind on Loki. I've got to get my Disney Plus turned back on. I was waiting for it to be over to do that.
Me too.
And now that it is, I can.
Yeah. I just heard the other day that it was done, and I'm like, oh, all right then. I did the exact same thing. But I'm going to have to ration my time. Well, let me rephrase that. I want to ration my time. I don't know if I'm going to watch Falcon Winter Soldier or not. It really depends on, and honestly, I might not get to it because I want to do Loki. I think what's going to wind up happening is what happened to me on Mandalorian. As I turned on Disney Plus to watch WandaVision, and I was going to do WandaVision and Mandalorian, and I wound up watching WandaVision twice, and I'm like, I might do the same thing with Loki, man. So it's like, don't make plans. Don't say, I'm going to watch Loki, and then I'm going to watch Winter Soldier, because I might not. That might not happen. And honestly, even if I got it. Loki, it was fine. I really think I'm going to want to watch it twice. But even if I don't, I'll just watch WandaVision again, man, because I loved it.
Yeah. The best review I can give Falcon and Winter Soldier is it's worth the time. If you want to watch it, fine. But I don't know that it's essential, but it's damn good.
Sweet.
So to sit down and watch it, I don't think you'll get to the end and be like, come here, I'll punch you right in the face.
Waste my dang time. There's some commercial now. There's some commercial now where Anthony Mackie's in it, and he's got the shield, he's got the Captain America Falcon suit. And it just looks so cool. I'm like, I'm probably going to have to watch that show because I love that guy. We talked about it, man. Like, this is something that I'm not saying it's an unpopular opinion. I think there's plenty of people that agree with this. You just don't hear it as often because it just doesn't come up that often. I know people love Sebastian Stan. I know people love Winter Soldier. And yes, that story was awesome. And he was real good at playing that part. He was awesome. But let's talk Captain America, the comic, for a moment. Bucky Barnes was Cap's tag partner for maybe 2 years. The Falcon was not only Captain America's tag team partner, but his co-conspirator. The book was literally called Captain America and the Falcon for I think from about 73 to 84, 85. It was over a decade, man. And it's that's what I'm talking about. So I liked it. I love Falcon anyway. I like that they got somebody so cool to play him. And then, we discussed that when it was all like, Bucky Barnes is going to be the new Captain America. And everyone knew that was temporary. I think everybody knew that. And it was cool. Those stories were real good, man. After the death of Captain America and they started, Brubaker was writing it as Bucky Barnes. It was cool, man. It was real cool. But then when they decided they were going to switch over and have Sam be Captain America, it's like, I think most everybody I know that really likes that character, that's what we wanted anyway. And that it took so long to get there was fine because what they gave us in the interim was cool too. Good stuff. I guess that's what I mean by Falcon Winter Soldier. I like that guy so much, and he does look awesome in that, like the Falcon style red, white, and blitz. Awesome looking. So I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to watch that. So I need to allocate my time properly or allot my time properly.
I will watch the show before I buy one of those Nissans they're trying to get me to buy because I don't want one.
I don't want a Nissan Captain Marvel, baby.
Yep. Stop.
Yeah, seriously, baby.
Did you want to talk about the dang old NBA basketball game? That was hell of a game, brother.
Oh man, I'm sorry for the late start. Thank you for hanging in there, man, because I have not missed a second of the finals. And it's like we talked about, man. When Atlanta was in, of course, we're very excited because it's Atlanta. And of course, I'm always going to pull for Atlanta to win anything they're involved in. Excuse me. But as far as just pure enjoyment, this is a very fine consolation prize because I have loved every second of this series, man. And it's weird. I had kind of a weird little hiccup today because I've been honestly, it's really difficult for me to pick which one of these teams I like better. I really, really have liked Milwaukee for a hot minute. It's been fun watching Milwaukee build, kind of like we were talking about. With, I love Giannis anyway. European basketball players for me are like Japanese baseball players. I'm a fan. I'm a biased fan. I'm irrational in my support. How about Ohtani, man? I mean, I won't get so far into that, but that's just unbelievable to me that your all-star game starter is leading the league in home runs. That is not something I ever thought we'd get to say. Amazing. So cool.
The one thing I'll say about Ohtani real quick, and I'll shut up, is, I'm a Babe Ruth guy. We've got to stop saying this is the first time we've seen it since Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth didn't do this.
It's true. Yeah.
This is the only time we've ever seen it. So quit throwing Babe in there. He's doing shit that ain't never been done.
That's true. I totally agree. I'm like, no. We need to just not. Let's not do that, because you're right. It was different. Ruth the pitcher was God until they put a bat in his hand, and it was all like, oh my God. So because again, pitching at the time was such a premium that anybody that could generate runs like that, of course they were going to play offense. The fact this guy does both all the time, it's like, holy crap. And that's another thing too, man. It's 33 taters in this season where all anyone's bitched about is there's no offense. Nobody's hitting the ball except this guy. Dude, it reminds me, we've talked about this before, and I guess this is my one positive thing to say about the Boston Red Sox, because I don't like the Red Sox, and sometimes I'm really unfair to them. But I like this statistic, and it's something you and I've talked about, and I know we feel the same way about it, but I'll mention it again. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world to do, remember the 2001 Topps baseball cards that had the real funky green border, and it was like the 50th anniversary set, and they're really gorgeous. They are really pretty baseball cards. Pedro Martinez that year is freaking horizontal, and it's just him all stretched out doing the Pedro. It's a beautiful card. I love it. It's one of my favorites. But one of the reasons I love it so much is because you can take it, flip it over on the back, and you've got 99 and 2000 right there at the very bottom. And man, you look at Pedro Martinez's numbers in those two seasons, and it is gobsmacking. And then you remind yourself that's the heart of the steroid era in the DH league. Absolutely incredible. And that's my thing with what Ohtani's doing offensively. It's like it's so counterintuitive is not the word I'm looking for, man. It begins with an A, and I can't think of what it is, man. But it's anachronistic, I guess, is what I'm looking for. With what's going on in baseball right now, to have this one guy put up these unbelievable offensive numbers, and oh, by the way, he's pitching at an elite level. It's amazing. It's so much fun. And we don't get to see him very much because ESPN is the worldwide leader is a fucking joke. And if you don't play for the Cubs or the Mets or the Yankees or the Red Sox, they don't run you. They don't run the Yankees very much anymore either, for the same reason that they hate the Lakers. They hate the Yankees. It's like it'll cost you to run them Yankees. And to be fair, as it should be, is the New York Yankees are royalty. By God, you're going to run, pay. Sign the check, prick. Just stop. Just stop. I don't give a crap what the record is, man. Are they wearing pinstripes? Well, there you go. You got there it is, man. Cut that check to the old piper. But anyway, I got very sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. The NBA Finals have been a blast. What I told myself I was going to do was just pull for all the home teams and then decide during Game 7, excuse me, if I was going to finish out with Phoenix or not. But I was actually pulling for Milwaukee a little bit today. And I like Phoenix. It's hard for me. I can't pull against Jay Crowder. He's built like his own Jay Crowder. And I love the notion of Chris Paul winning a championship. But ESPN, you know what they're going to do. They've already shown their hand. Here's the deal. If the Bucks win, the story, let me start the other way. If the Suns win, the story is, oh, Giannis, soft European, can't get it done. Those Europeans, they can't get it done. Too soft. Too soft. Now, remember, this is going on at the same time that the Olympic team is getting beaten in international games because, oh, they don't give the soft fouls like the NBA. It's like, well, what is it then? Is Europe soft? Or do they have, are the foul calls in the NBA light? Because you can't have both of those things. It doesn't work. That's one thing. Meanwhile, if the Bucks win, oh, Chris Paul, sad sack Chris Paul, he's just never going to get it done. And I know that's how they are because they're fucking pricks, and that's all you can sell to people is who lost, who can I make fun of? So they suck either way. So there is no way to get out of that. So I'm like, I'm good either way, but I was really glad the Bucks won tonight. And also, that big three showed their asses tonight. They all three played like mad, didn't they?
Yeah, man. Drew showing out.
Drew Holiday's bad sucker, man. That little outlet, to be honest, at the end after that steal, God dang, that was sweet. That was such a good play. And on the subject of that steal, Giannis gets the bucket, draws the foul, goes to the free throw line, missed one. Devin Booker comes cutting right inside of him, man. And what does he do? Jumps right back up, taps it back out to Chris Middleton. And it's like, Giannis is a great player. I don't know. Well, I do know why, actually. And the reason I keep bringing up soft European is because that's why they hate him, because you have a totally different continent of people watching basketball now. And I guess the point that I want to make about that is this. It is Milwaukee versus Phoenix. Have you heard anybody talking about ratings for the finals this year? Because I haven't. Nobody's brought up a fucking thing about it, and that tells you all you need to know. Because if they could be talking about it, they would be talking about it, but they're not. You got two small market teams, and the ratings are off the fucking chart, and it makes you angry, doesn't it, Mickey? Screw those guys. But I'm loving this series. It is so much fun. It's super competitive. I love it. I'm just loving it, man. Can't wait for Game 6.
Man, to draw comparisons, to me, it feels like the Suns feel like the Raptors a few seasons ago. It feels like maybe next year, but who knows? They may end up winning the whole thing, and I'll be like, oh no, wrong again. I'm used to this.
Nah, they could. It could be, man. Seriously, it's been such a good series, man. I do love the fact now that I think it's real cool because basically for me the way it works now is if we have Game 7, both teams will have had the opportunity to close out at home, and that is incredible. That's real cool because either Milwaukee is going to win it at home, or they could, or Phoenix will have to win it at home. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is so cool, man. And it's a big deal. It shouldn't be. But of all the, oh man, we're so glad to have the fans back. Well, where that starts hitting me is the idea of a team winning the old Larry O'Brien, which, by the way, TNT gave to Marv Albert. I don't know how they're going to break it to whoever wins this year. You don't get the trophy. That's Marv's trophy. But it just seems really cool to me that whoever wins the NBA championship, if they can do it in front of their people, that would be so cool. So I love this crap, man. I love it. And in Game 6, I will be point blank pulling for the Bucks because I love Giannis. I love Chris Middleton. God dang, that sucker. 3 years now I've been like, this cat right here is best. I shouldn't say the best kept secret in the NBA, but he was the best kept secret among teams that I get to see play every now and again. Because I think everybody's got somebody like that. Every player's got that guy that, like, I tell you, the dude that I've seen his name pop up lately is De'Aaron Fox, the point guard for the Kings. And I've only seen De'Aaron Fox play a couple of times, and he was just amazing. So I can't help but think, man, if you're a full-time Sacramento Kings fan, he has got to be your guy. Like, man, if people could just see this guy play. John Collins was that guy here. It's like, man, if people got to see this guy play, they would not believe how good he is. I think everybody in the league has at least one of those guys, and maybe two. They might have a couple because, like, with Phoenix, man, Jay Crowder I love. I'm biased because he's from Villa Rica. But I'm gonna say his name wrong. I think it's Mikal Bridges. I think it's Mikal. I might be saying it wrong, but he's the guy that went to Villanova and got drafted by the Sixers, and then they traded him on draft night. And it's like his mom worked for the 76ers. He's a Philadelphia kid, and it was such a cool story. And they jobbed him, man, and sent him to Phoenix, and now he's a finalist. And I'm like, well, good on him. I'm glad he won that one, man.
Yeah, everything. He was being kept from something.
Yeah, dude, here's the deal. Everybody that Philly has sent to Phoenix wound up in a better spot because Dario Saric messed his knee up, man. He's the one the big that messed his, I think he tore his ACL. But he was one of the process guys. You know, everybody wants to talk about the process now being Joel Embiid, but it's like, really? You think that tanking for 8 fucking years and getting Joel Embiid's a good deal? Okay, I got bad news for you. The process was, let's suck every year and get a whole lot of lottery picks, which they did, and they turned them into a big old pile of shit because basically you've got Joel Embiid and everybody else, yes, including Ben Simmons now, has flamed out or been traded. It's insane, man. It's insane. It reminds me of Atlanta with poor Dimitrov, man, because it's not like the Falcons don't get decent draft picks. We just don't hit on them, man. It's like, dude, serious. They got way sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. But I can't believe I really believed that I would enjoy this series, but even with like the setting the expectations so high, it's incredible how much fun I'm having watching this, man. I love it. It's awesome. Just put it on mute and put music on because ESPN means Mark Jackson and Van Gundy, and I don't like either one of those guys. But Mark Jackson's funny though, man, because as soon as Golden State got rid of his ass, he just went on the fucking bitter bandwagon talking all that bullshit. And it's like, 3 rings later, ain't nobody missing you, man. You can pipe down, buddy.
Yeah. Sit down and have a Coke and shut up. Man, my sporting event I had to check out tonight was something I've had a lot of fun watching. It's been going on for the past 8 or 9 weeks or whatever it was, but it's the SXR, whatever it's called, racing series that's been coming on Saturday nights on CBS, and I'm sure, I don't know if it'll continue or not. This might be the only season that we ever get, but the fun of it is it's similar to like there was an IROC series.
Yeah.
That used to run along with like and it was primarily Winston Cup NASCAR drivers, but they would invite like guys from Indy and retired guys to come and race in stock cars, but not the traditional Winston Cup style. And one of the things that made tonight special, it was for the first time ever, we had we had not only Bill Elliott, who's been running the whole series, but he had him and Chase in the same event. It's never happened before. And I was right surprised that Hendrick Motorsports and Napa and Hooters let this happen, but they did. And you know, it's just been, to me, it's been a bunch of fun to watch because they don't race on super speedways or, you know, normal size tracks that these cars will be on, but it's been showcasing like short Saturday night tracks, and they've ran on asphalt, they've ran on dirt, and so I've just had a ton of fun watching it, and it hasn't necessarily been the most competitive because one of the big I don't know if you call an owner of the series, but a big funder of the series was Tony Stewart, which pretty much meant I'm winning, guys. Deal with it. And sure enough, but he did win the series championship tonight, but Chase Elliott won the race, so it was kind of fun how that worked out. And one of the neat things about Tony Stewart being the first champion of this series is he was the last champion in the IROC series. So
cool, man.
It was kind of a neat little thing that he had to point it out. I didn't realize that, but as drivers like Paul Tracy and Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, guys like that, the Bobby Labonis of the world have been in the field. But then you also have guys like Elio Castroneves and Paul Tracy and other guys I'm forgetting, Willie T. Ribs, and then from time to time, this earlier in the season, we called 8 weeks a season, but they would even have like the local favorite in the field
that's
with them.
awesome.
So all kind of cool stuff like that has been going on, and I hope it gets a lot more popular. I don't. Speaking of ratings, I have no idea what it's done. I won't find out. I don't care to know. But it's just been a bunch of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I checked that out tonight. Bill had a good showing for himself as well. He finished third. It was Chase, Tony Stewart, and Bill with the podium. So it was pretty good event. So I had fun watching that. So that's my other thing that I had to check out tonight.
That's what I'm talking about. That's awesome, man. I also like the idea. For some reason, I've got it in my head that some reporter is going to ask Tony Stewart about, Mr. Stewart, doesn't it seem a little strange to you that you're like you're funding these races and then you wind up, winning? Isn't that a little strange? And I'd be like, I'm sorry, is your name Superstar Bill Dundee? No, but in the crowd staying here with the king.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. It's justification as booking Memphis wrestling, man. Like, no, Jerry ain't handed you nothing, man.
No. Sitting there getting interviewed by this guy eating his Whopper.
Yeah, seriously, man.
The whole time.
I'm damn work for it, man.
You asked me a question. I got muffled a cheeseburger.
Yeah, man. Come on.
Don't bother me not too much. I don't want to bother you.
I just somebody coming in here to my racing circuit and beating me about as damn as possible as this Whopper I'm eating.
Possible.
Turns into a commercial. Speaking of impossible, Sunrise burger.
Delicious. By Nissan. With Honda Envision.
Not Nissan, Honda Vision.
Yeah, but Disney Plus. Hot damn.
I read some review the other day of Space Jam, and they're whining about that. How, welcome to the future of entertainment, where every IP that you can imagine all runs together. I'm like, you're really going to save this for Space Jam? Did you not see Ready Player One? Have you not seen the Avengers trying to sell you a caravan? It's like, no, we've been doing that for a while, brother.
Man.
Everybody knows that Geico and Hellsberg Diamond started that a long time ago when the little geckos started buying engagement rings.
Man, one of the biggest trips of my whole life. One of the most fun trips to the movie theater I ever had. I got to go, and was it like 88 or 89, and watch a movie on the big screen. And it didn't dawn on me then how big it was to see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse on the screen in Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, man.
There's no way that would ever happen.
Seriously. It's bullshit. That's just bullshit.
Oh my God.
For real, man.
Total horseshit. But yeah, that's I'm definitely in the minority. But as much as I love Mike, Space Jam was one of those movies that just never did it for me. But this one that's out looks really interesting.
I've never seen Space Jam. Not really interested in the new one. It's cool. It is what it is, man. All this crap is fine. It's all good. Well, I hate you doing it to be like Michael. Yeah, and they put him in the movie so people like you would jump on Twitter and say that. So congratulations for giving them exactly what they want, man.
Yeah. Everybody wins.
Dude, seriously, it's like I don't know why people haven't figured out that cesspool Twitter. You're not getting out of that. It's quicksand, but it's quicksand that costs you money. And I'm like, man, I wish, I don't know why. I guess it's just that people feel they have to vent that shit. But I don't know what difference we think it's going to make. I'm trying to do that with myself with like politics and all these other things that frustrate me. Is like, dude, don't get mad about that stuff. Ain't no difference. The crap that the stuff that you can do that actually makes a difference in the lives of people that you care, man, do that stuff. Get concerned about that, but don't worry about the rest of this. I'm not doing a good job of it, but I'm trying to be aware of it, and I'm gonna try and do a better job of it. You know what I mean?
But man, I just always remember it feels like Space Jam was just one of those movies. It was like a landmark for kids of a certain age, and it's not that I've seen it that many. I've caught it on TV here and there, a time or two. I'd like the TV version. I'm just kind of like, it's fun enough movie, but I'm like, it ain't Roger Rabbit, so I'd rather check out some more Roger Rabbit.
Well, watch Roger Rabbit again. Well, I had a hard time saying that.
Yeah, man. Man, I did have to sit down and check out. We're talking about the All-Star game just because I'm just a sucker and I love it for some reason. I have to All-Star weekend is one of my favorite times of the year, so I had to check it out. One of the things that caused a little bit of a dust up going into that weekend. I don't know if you heard the comments that Stephen A. Smith had to go and apologize about, talking about Ohtani. He's like, I just don't think that it's good for the sport that your star have to have an interpreter, or however he put it. Is essentially what he said. It's not good for the sport that the big guy you're pushing this weekend can't speak the language. Until, and I want to know where Stephen A. was this at the end of the All-Star game. When you get to the MVP, guess what the hell Vlad Jr. has? A goddamn interpreter. So where's the outcry there? Oh, he's anyway.
This is the part that's so pitiful about this stuff. And you and I talked about this very specific thing before, and it was about that guy that Stephen A. Smith used to do a TV show with.
Oh, yes.
And it's how I don't understand racism. I'm very fortunate that we talked about it before. I think that one of the greatest strokes of luck I was ever given in my entire life. I'm very fortunate that neither one of my parents were like that. We weren't taught that shit, but just that's not the way it was. But as far as external life and things that happen outside the home, the primary school that we went to, the principal was a black lady. And yes. I think I feel very fortunate to have had like basically once I leave the house and I'm like for 8 hours a day, I'm under somebody else's watch. It's not somebody that looks like my mom. And I think that's real cool because the idea of, I don't know why, but it seems like this, people fuss about that all the time with like, I don't know, it's just strange because I've never understood people's frustration with like having women as bosses. I'm like, man, did you not go to school? How can this possibly be the first time you've ever had a grown ass adult woman telling you what to do and enforcing rules? If you break them, you're in trouble. I don't know. That always seemed weird to me. But Miss Brooks was so freaking cool anyway, man. But as far as we're talking about cultures and whatnot, I've always felt so lucky about that. Like, I don't know if that made a difference or not, but it damn sure could have, apparently, because nobody else seems to have had this experience. And I'm like, well, if that is what made the difference, then that's awesome. And I'm glad to be lucky like that. I don't like racism. I don't care for it. But one thing that genuinely frustrates, I promise we're going to get back to Stephen A. now, that genuinely drives me more up the wall than absolute authentic racism is people that will play racist on TV to make money. And that is Skip Bayless and now Stephen A. Smith. Because, of course, you're not going to have anybody that looks like this go on ESPN and say that. Because you don't hear endlessly about inner city turmoil between Asians and white people. You hear about it between Asians and black people. Basically, I'm assuming that somebody watched Do the Right Thing the weekend before, and they got the scene where everybody's doing the straight down the pipe. Basically, it's when everybody starts doing all the slurs. Yeah. And you have the Asian kid that runs the market going nuts about how much he can't stand black people, man. And that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, yeah, let's drum this up. Yeah, Stephen A., go out there and say, I don't believe for one fucking second that Stephen A. Smith gives two shits about Ohtani. But basically, he was told, you want your check this week? This is what you're going to say. And the reason I will say that is, what's the fallout? What's the repercussion? Nothing. Stephen A. went on the air the next day and apologized. Ain't nothing ever going to come of it because he just did what the fuck they told him to do. And it's pathetic. Pathetic, especially with someone like Stephen A., who wants to be Mr. Justice Warrior who will then take a paycheck to go out there and talk bullshit about somebody else that's not the same race as you. It's crap. Fuck all of them. They're all ridiculous. And the reason you want to make as far as the reason the bosses want to make a deal out of it is, racism is very profitable. We were just talking about how you've got people on the left now that cannot let go of Donald Trump because he made a lot of money. And I'm not saying that not every bit of Trump is racism, but a lot of it was. People pushed buttons a lot with that guy, and that's one of the reasons why. Racism is very, very useful at keeping all of us mad at each other over dumb shit that doesn't matter, and it's also quite profitable. Pardon me. So the deal with the Stephen A. thing for me is just more people doing what the corporate paymasters tell them to do. Good job there, buddy. It was so stupid, though, man. But as far as him needing an interpreter, y'all are just mad. Because now that their international market is everywhere except your precious fucking NFL, it's starting to, you can feel that wind coming to blow your ass away. Because I'm sorry, man. Don't nobody give a shit about your league. I know I beat that point to death too much. But for domestic sports coverage in this country, that's it. Y'all have had every egg in that basket for 4 decades now. And it's like, you fucked up, didn't you? Well, baseball's an old man sport. We're going to get behind football. Yeah. That was a great decision, wasn't it? Because now gambling is legal. And there you go. You know you're fucked. They know they are so fucked because gambling is the ultimate betting man sport. It just is, because we've talked about it before. When people discuss all the reasons that football is the ultimate, fan sport, because they play one game a week and you can focus all your energy and attention on that game, and then it's all built up, and here it is, and we'll see you next week, folks. That's great for television, but that ain't got shit to do with pay windows.
Yeah.
But when you got 162 games a year, if you're just betting on the outcome of baseball, you can do it 3 times a week, but nobody just bets on the outcome, do they? And that's the point. It's like, now that gambling is legal, well, the NFL is going to have a team in Las Vegas. They're going to get out there and they're going to be the big winners when gambling is legal. No. Your big winners are in this order: Major League Baseball, the NBA, Major League Soccer, probably the NHL, and then maybe the NFL. Maybe, because those other sports play a hell of a lot more games. So now all of a sudden your status is the ultimate TV appointment viewing sport. Yeah, well, it fucks you now, doesn't it? There's a reason they keep, let's extend the season. Let's have everybody play twice a week. They're trying to make these people monsters. They are trying. I mean, there's a reason they've been letting them take HGH unstoppably for decades now, because they are trying to make football players impossible to kill. Because they want to play 4 times a week, because that's what other sports do. And it's like, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. I mean, again, greed, fucking cash is the only thing that motivates these people. And when you have so much of it and still need so much more of it, you have to start thinking outside the fucking box, man. Anyhow, all that's ridiculous. I got way sidetracked. But Stephen A's Ohtani comments were fake as shit. I don't buy it. I don't believe him. And the main point being that ESPN obviously doesn't give a shit, because they're not even going to discipline the guy, much less fire him. It's the same thing with Skip Bayless and the Dak Prescott comments. He did that shit because he's a fucking idiot, but you knew they weren't going to get rid of him. All they were trying to do was basically give him a pay cut.
Yeah. Yep. That's what's up, man. Did you happen to watch the Fyter Fest Night 1?
I did. I watched Fyter Fest Night 1, and I'm sorry to mess up last week, because we had something pretty big kind of went down a couple of weeks ago, and they brought it back up at Fyter Fest, and I thought they brought it up well. We'll discuss Fyter Fest, and then that'll dovetail into what we're talking about.
That's so good.
Fyter Fest is fine, man. It's not. Most of the matches they had on night 1 are not what I watch AEW for. They're good shit. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing, because somebody was talking about it's the perfectly booked show because Moxley's first and Darby Allin's last. And see, neither one of those guys do it for me. But the comment that guy made is exactly right. He is exactly right, man. They did a good job. My only thing I wasn't really wild about is way too many in-ring interviews. I'm like, guys, let's not get back to doing 5 of these a show. I don't need that. But it was cool. I mean, I like that, I'm just happy for AEW, man, because the shit is cooking right. It really is cooking. They got good people coming in. They got good storylines going on. I'm digging the crap out of it, man. They're doing really well. And I read an awesome statistic that I think they said 4 times AEW's gone over 1 million viewers. I think it was 4. And of those 4, 3 times Darby Allin was the main event. I'm like, now that is a hell of a stat. That's a really, really cool stat because Darby Allin, he's an in-house guy. Oh, just keep signing up WWE guys. Not their biggest guy, obviously. Like, that's crazy. This is awesome.
Man, so that match was what I was there for. I was looking forward to that match hardcore, and it was damn good.
It was cool. I agree. I thought they did a really good job. And one thing that I loved is how they started out. Because so very often, it sounds like a diss, but it's just an assessment. It's just my opinion. But so many Darby Allin matches are just him getting his ass whipped and then he wins at the end. But that one with him like going on offense instantly, I'm like, now that's what I'm talking about. That's cool. Yeah. That's a good little change up. I liked it. I'm with you. It was really cool. And I like I like the end of it. They did a lot of good stuff, man. There was a lot of stuff on there that I was impressed with, man. And my favorite thing, obviously, dovetailing back to our guy, I thought Cody's promo was great because it was minimal. It's just him yelling, and it's like you believed him. But as soon as he invites our man Malachi to the ring, and he's like, man, I was hoping you would say that. I love this shit. I am loving it. I thought it was great. And I'm just glad to see Aleister Black back because I love that guy. So I'm really, really happy that here we go. And you can obviously see he's got his hand on the steering wheel. But there's just a couple of things. Somebody was talking about.
The only thing nitpicky I'll say that I thought made that a little bit cool, and it's a totally stupid thing. But I would have much rather it cut to black and then you hear that. I was hoping you'd ask that. Then the lights pop back up. The only thing I would have changed. Yeah,
I can dig it, man. I like voiceovers with no face. I think that's cool. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I like that this is where we're going. I know that was for the first appearance. That was the biggest complaint that I heard. Is like, oh, of course Cody's going to book himself to wrestle this guy. Of course it's going to be Cody. And I'm like, y'all, are you really suggesting that Cody is going to go over? Does anybody really think Cody's going? You can't possibly think Cody's going over. And if you're smart enough to know Cody's not going over, why are you complaining about this? I guess my thing is, who would you replace him with? Who would you book? Malachi, Aleister, Tommy in Black.
Yeah.
to wrestle first. Who are you putting him in there with first? Omega? Omega's the champ. That's stupid. Yeah. Who else you doing? There is nobody else.
That's it.
Exactly. That's the guy. You need it to be one of the executive VPs, and Omega is previously engaged. So, nah, man, I think that's really I like that they're going with Cody first. Now, I'll tell you this, here you go. For the sake of argument, if Cody books himself to win, yeah, you'll totally be right, but I just don't think that's going to happen, primarily based on what? The fact that you guys want him to be Triple H, because you keep talking about it and you keep saying it, but he books himself to lose to not Anthony Ogogo. He booked himself to beat Anthony Ogogo, and he did. People are right, and that sucked right up until Aleister Black shows up. Because if he loses to Anthony Ogogo and then goes into a spot with Aleister Black, well, who gives a fuck? This guy just lost to Anthony Ogogo, and I'm like, it's that same thing you and I talk about, man, where I have ideas of what I would like to see them do. And anytime they go in the other direction, you just wait and see because it's logical. There's a lot of strong logic in what they do. And so with Cody beating a go-go and then all of a sudden you got Malachi Black, it's all like, makes sense. That totally makes sense. Now, put on my Booker hat. Yeah. Because I love this crap. I love this crap. And like we talked about, this is what I like about AEW. And I would love it about NXT, but you can't do this with NXT because they yank people back and forth and fuck them all up. And that there's no consistency at all. You can do this with AEW. Here's what I would do. Sorry. Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Got to do it. Yeah. Let's pretend, hypothetically, like you and I've talked about before we started the show, let's say that hypothetically the Bryan Danielson rumor about All In is true. And I was listening to JD from NY, and I don't know his bud's name. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a jerk and not give proper credit, but they were having a conversation about how Bryan Danielson has to wrestle Kenny Omega. And somebody was giving him hell about, oh, you didn't say that about Christian, la-di-da. And they defended their position that there is such a thing as pecking order, and they're totally right about that. But I don't think it's going to be a problem because I think that Hangman's going to beat Omega for the belt. So that's cool. That totally takes care of that. No problem. So then you can have Kenny and Bryan Danielson, which would be awesome. I also love the idea of Aleister Black and Kenny Omega, because why not? And have Kenny lose both those matches, because after you win the title, you can spiral for a little bit, because by God, once he gets back up, he's going to get all the way back up. So you can do that right now. But I just think from the pure dream match standpoint, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Tommy End, Kenny Omega, I'm in. I'm super excited about both of those. I really hope it's something that one of them, obviously, we can see. I would love it, because that's the whole thing. Again, same thing as it started. I'm sorry to get down the Bryan Danielson conversation, but the idea started with Tommy End. It's just like Tommy versus Kenny is awesome, but it doesn't have to be for that title. Doesn't need to be. Don't want it to be, because I can get you a better title match down the line for Aleister, in my opinion. So all that stuff is fine. All that's great. All that's good. Somebody had posted this little mashup picture of Sting and Darby Allin and Aleister Black, and they're like, hey, who else would be interested in seeing this faction? I'm like, I would, and I'll tell you why. When it's time for Sting to hang him up, when he's ready to ride off into the graveyard with the AJ Styles because the Undertaker buried him, push that gas on that. Have those three guys do their thing, and basically have Aleister Black slowly corrupting Darby Allin for a Darby Allin heel turn, which would be awesome. I mean, it'd be really interesting and different and very cool. And they could be a tag team for a hot minute. It'll be all good. And eventually, when you come out of that tunnel and you give the title to Tommy End, then you start pulling them apart. And this is maybe a year from now, man. That's what's cool about all this, is you can take your time. And there's no, again, with NXT, you have no time, because you never know when people are going to get called up. You got contracts with people, man. You know exactly how long you have, man. But the idea of Tommy End ascending up the ladder, winning the championship, and then that being who Darby takes it off of, because we have had heel Darby, who has now seen the error of his ways, and he comes on back to the fold. Come on, that would be awesome. All of that would be total. I hope that's at least somewhere on like a note card somewhere. I think that's real good. I think all that works. And of course, I would imagine the chorus in my head is all like, what about MJF? I have said many times, and I will stand by, MJF is made for the TV title. Now, I have no idea how you transition from Miro to MJF. I'm not saying it has to be. It's just along the way. I'm not really sure how you do that. But at the same time, I really wouldn't mind, honestly, if Jungle Boy was the one that took it off of Miro, and then MJF can take it off Jungle Boy to just add one more layer to that. Because I still think that's the painting, that's the masterpiece they're working on there, is Jungle Boy finally getting his first one-on-one victory over, it's Misawa and Kawada, or Kawada beating Misawa. Finally, for the first time. It's going to be a huge deal. Now, that was in a tag match, but then it led to Kawada finally beating him for the title. I think that's cool. I think the idea of MJF finally getting beat by Jungle Boy for the TV title, it's a good idea. Speaking of which, that's a cool thing they're doing now with the TV title. Apparently, they're not doing side plates. Everybody gets their own unique belt. It's like once you win it, they change the design. So, okay, cool.
Hey, man, that's tight.
I get down with it. That's all right. Go on, y'all.
Warrior rules.
Yeah, seriously, dude, for real.
I want a yellow one.
Yeah, I like Miro's Bulgarian Championship, but it's like, that's cool looking, man. But I like white leather anyway. I've always, man, the first time I saw, probably was the Warrior that put the world title. No, it was a No Holds Barred, where Rip had the world title, the big eagle belt, but it was on that white strap. Like, damn, that looks awesome.
That's tight.
Yeah, man.
It just makes it pop.
Yeah, it's sweet looking, man. Like, that's cool, dude. But anyhow, I'm so happy. I'm really happy with several things. It's weird because JD was talking about And several people have said now, man, about, oh man, Zelina Vega, man, she's gonna get killed. They're gonna kill her for that. And this is pure speculation. This is not rooted in anything I've heard, read, or anything. It's just something I thought. And I'm telling you, it would not surprise me a bit if her renegotiating to go back to WWE didn't have something to do with it. Because the whole like, well, they never changed his contract from 30 days to 90 days because they messed up. And, people's obsession with someone being the punchline, I'm like, I just don't believe it. So the idea of Tommy End getting called up to the main roster, but his contract status never, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I don't believe it. But if you tell me this guy's wife goes in to renegotiate and is like, I'll cut you a deal if you let Tommy out of his no compete. I'm just saying, to me, that seems as likely as the other. One of those things seems as likely as the other, especially when there is no logical sense whatsoever for her to re-sign with them unless she has an ironclad contract that says you can make however much third-party money you want to and we won't touch it. Yeah. I can't imagine for 1 second that didn't happen. And I'll stand by that too, because of all the talk. Oh, Zelina Vega, she came crawling back. WWE got her for no money. I don't know if I believe that or not. Because again, people just want everyone to be the punchline. People want everyone to be WCW going out of business, and it's like, I don't know if I believe that. And also, why on earth would she? Makes no sense. Because she had all the leverage in the world, man. It's not like there's no other women's division to go to. Matter of fact, you have one that's clearly better and another that at the very least is just as good. Now, performer-wise, they're not. Performance-wise, the WWE is still the best. But considering that the showrunners and the writers have so much say over what you can and can't do, in-ring performance can only take you so far. If they drop the leash, we've talked about it before, man. It's the reason that so many people will go to like house shows or dark matches and be like, holy shit, that was awesome. And it's like, yeah, man, Bruce ain't got shit to do with that. The TV writers have nothing to do with house shows. The kids are just out there having fun doing what they want to. That's the reason they're so cool.
Yeah, go out and kick it.
Dude, seriously, it's like, yeah, man, this is jam session crap. Let's just go have a good time. And they do, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, man. That was how I felt about the show. I felt, man, that the first 2 matches I really dug, and there was that lull. But then, the main event was the good stuff that I was digging it and had a good time watching it.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Darby Allin's interesting, man, because he's not my guy, but that's okay. He ain't got to be. It's we've talked about it before, man. I like the wrestling buffet. I like the wrestling buffet, man, and it's that I don't have to like everything on it. And there's plenty of stuff on it that I'm not wild about, but I get why it's a big deal. I totally understand people like it. Man, Darby Allin's Jeff Hardy, man. Jeff Hardy was cool as shit, especially if you're either a young wrestling fan or a new wrestling fan. You ain't never seen nothing like that before, because we hadn't either. It's cool, man.
Right. Man, as much as I'm there, I was there for Darby, but I was just as much there for Ethan Page. I mean, I like him a lot.
I love Ethan Page, man. I like Ethan Page because I'm an idiot and I just think Danhausen is great. So anytime, Danhausen, good friend, Egon Page. Every time he talks about him, it makes me laugh. But Ethan Page and what the heck?
Yeah.
Ricky Starks is my other. Ricky Starks is good as shit. That guy is incredibly good.
I liked his match with Brian Cage way more than I thought I would.
Me too. I did the exact same thing. I'm like, all right, cool, we'll check this out. And then dude's like, holy shit, man, he's a bad sucker, man. I think that was a really, really good get because he was climbing in the NWA. He was doing fine there, but it's like he got the right deal and the right offer, and it was like this guy right here, man. I love it. That's real cool.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Coming up for night 2, you're going to have Britt Baker and Nyla Rose, Jon Moxley and Lance Archer in a Texas death match. Orange Cassidy versus The Blade and Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
There's Moxley, Archer will probably be the top match on there. I don't know how many fucking times they're gonna wrestle each other for that damn belt, because I think this is at least 3, and that's just here. But it seems to me that what's going on now, man, is Moxley, because I don't like the guy and I'm very biased, but his contract is his contract. And when he signed with AEW, he had to keep the belt for a year. And with New Japan, apparently he wants to have a certain number of defenses of the U.S. title. I'm like, well, motherfucker, you've been sitting your ass over here during pandemic times. You could have been running through them then. But surely to God, I think Jeff Cobb is the one from New Japan that has won himself into a position to win that title. And if that's not who they're looking to move that on to, I don't know what they're thinking. They're thinking, because he beat Kenta repeatedly. He's beaten Archer repeatedly. And it's like, man, can we please change it? Because Carl Anderson, I understand, man, because it's like that's going to be a really good match because Anderson is solid as shit. But it's not time for him to drop it. So that was great. That was totally good stuff. But that's all I can figure is that they've got to be eyeballing Jeff Cobb to win that title, because I can't believe they're gonna set Cobb up, and I just can't believe they're gonna have him beat him. I don't see the point in that at all. As far as January is concerned, I think the more every time I hear a Wild thing, I'm like, I don't know if they've either done a contract with Onita, who was in the videos for the exploding deathmatch la-di-da. So they definitely know his phone number and he knows who they are. So I think that, and this is like Tokyo Dome stuff, I would think that, for Wrestle Kingdom, you're going to have Moxley and Onita, which is cool. I think we'll get back to Kenny and Ibushi. I really think that's where they're going. And that's the thing with you just had Kenny losing the belt. Yeah, in August. Lots of months to get that sucker back. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we got ways to go.
Yeah, totally, man. But there's lots of good crossover stuff I'd love to see. I'm really hoping they're going to start pushing the gas on Good Brothers Gorillas of Destiny. I think that would be awesome. I'd love to see. I'm biased, but I'd love to see that match. Speaking of which, the Good Brothers were on New Japan. It's not New Japan World Strong. Strong is the name. I couldn't think of what the U.S. show is called.
Oh.
New Japan Strong today. The Good Brothers were on it. And Luke Gallows posted a picture of it. It just had a little caption. It was just like, "You're just as lovely as you used to be." So I had to leave him a comment that was like, "That's a hell of a fine Conway reference there, good brother." If you're going to put Conway Twitty lyrics on anything, it's like, "Yes, sir, you did. Good job."
I see.
Hello, Gordon. Nice to see you. A long time, you're just as lovely as Conway Twitty. I like Conway singing everything in the third person about how great he is.
That's where I told Toby Keith how to do it. Talk about how great I am.
I love that shit. My brother and I rewrote that song. One lyric of it, my brother rewrote it, and it cracks me up every time I think about it. Where it makes me think, to the point that I think this is what the lyric is anymore. The lyric in that song should have been, "Want to talk about me? Want to talk about I? Want to talk about number one T-O-B-Y." It cracks me up. Every time I think about it, it cracks me up. I'm like, God, that should have been the lyric.
Oh, man. You missed an opportunity. You missed an opportunity. Talk about my ass. Yeah, man, that's about all I know that's going on in the daggone world.
Man, I think that's about all I got too. I am sorry to wait so long to back us up so much on the Archer news, the Malachi news. Oh, that was one other thing. I'm sorry. There's one other thing about that, and this is not something I thought of at all. I would give credit, but I'm an idiot, don't know who it was. But somebody on one of the Instagram pages was talking about his eye, how he still has his bruise makeup. And it's all like, man, what do y'all think that means? And I'm like, well, I hope what it means is they're going to sign Buddy Murphy and they'll pick up right where they left off. And I'm serious about that. That'd be awesome. And then somebody left me a comment and it was like, oh, without Seth Rollins doesn't make any sense. And I hadn't thought about it because I don't watch WWE, so I had no idea. I mean, I get it makes sense because it's the whole Mysterio. It made sense. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm happy to say this is what I love about this crap, because as soon as anybody says that, your gears start turning. What's Malachi's last name? It's Black, isn't it?
So going black, yeah.
Yeah, Malachi Black. What was Seth Rollins' name on the Indies? It's
Oh,
Tyler
Tyler.
Black.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like just have Buddy Murphy come out and start making cryptic references to Tyler over and over again, and let all of us get online and do our freaking fandom thing. You can pick up right where you left off, and if you need Seth Rollins in the story, now you got him. Ain't even have to say his name. Ain't even got to write nobody a check. And I'm like, now that's amazing. I hadn't thought about it at all. But as soon as the guy mentioned it, I'm like, dude, all you got to do is reference him as Tyler and you're good to go. You're pure gold. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
Yeah,
that was my
good
whole
stuff.
thing. Well, honestly, my thing on it is like that dude said that, and that got me thinking about it. What I like about it is I would be shocked if you'd never convince me that somebody at AEW hadn't already thought about it. Because why not just have him be Tommy End?
Mhm.
He can be Tommy End, but no. Malachi Black. Let's keep Black in there, because if you keep Black in there, any reference to Tyler, it's like, Black, are they related? Are they the same person? What the fuck? It's so cool. I love that stuff because you can just, oh man, this is what I love about this junk, man. It's like reading a comic book series, man. You just get so into it, and it's so cool about all the places it could possibly go. I'm like, God, no wonder we love this crap so much, man. It's awesome.
Man.